We are in this amazing day. And this is the day when we celebrate, we honor people who gave their lives in service of our country. And I think truly that that is a wonderful thing to do. That many people go to cemeteries tomorrow and they take part in ceremonies. And I find that that's such an honoring thing to honor people, whether they are in this life or not. And so I hope that many of us do that. There's a quote that I think goes with Memorial Day, and it is, "For those who fight for it, freedom has a flavor that the protected never know." For those who fight for it, freedom has a flavor that we, the protected, never know. And so I'm going to invite you to think of people in your family who have given their lives in service of our country. I won't ask you to stand because I can imagine that everyone in this room would stand, because we all have someone, I'm sure, who has given their life so that we, the protected, can be protected. And so I invite you just to think of that person or persons now and know that on this day, we honor them, we remember them, we bless them for what they did for us. We could speak of the horrors of war. And we could talk about the waste of lives and resources, but that's not what we do on this day. We honor, we remember. And so now I am going to ask, because this honoring is also for the living, that I'm going to ask that all the veterans in the audience come up. Line up on the aisle. Can you do that? I know you can. You can march a little too. But come on, we want to see you. We want to see who you are. That's good. Yeah. Oh, you just stay right here and turn around so we can all see you. And we just want to thank you. You are here, the living, and you have done well in the line of service that you were in, and we just want to honor and bless you with our applause. Songs, and I have a favorite song, but before I even talk about that song, I want to say that there are people in this world who break barriers. There are people in this world who have courage, who stand up. It's because there's something in them that says, I need to stand up. And it's related to this song, My Country 'Tis of Thee. So I need to say something about the person. Maybe first of all, the person who wrote the song. Back in the late 1800s, I believe, a man by the name of Samuel Smith, a clergyman, author, editor, and he wrote this little song for children. And then a friend of his came back from Germany. He didn't have the melody yet, he just had the words. A friend of his came back from Germany and brought an old German hymnal. And in there he found the tune of a German patriotic song. And so he put these words to that tune. And it's my favorite. So My Country 'Tis of Thee. You know, in 1939, There was a woman who sang this song and made history. Her name was Marian Anderson. Remember her? She was the African-American woman who stood in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and she made history on that day. She was a woman of quiet dignity and courage. She broke many barriers in her lifetime. She was the first black woman to sing in the Metropolitan Opera. But that was just one of the many things that she did. And so what a beautiful way to live, with quiet dignity and courage. I think we could use those traits today, those qualities. That in this chaotic time in this world, quiet dignity and courage just seems so bright. So the song then, My Country 'Tis of Thee. Let me give you the words and hear them as a poem. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside let freedom ring. My country 'tis of thee, land of the noble free. And noble free. Thy name I love. I love thy rocks and rills, thy woods and templed hills. The beautiful woods, the mountains, the hills that look like temples, that remind us of the divine and the sacredness of this earth that we live on. Let that music swell the breeze and ring from all the trees. Let every mortal tongue awake and everything that breathes partake. Let even the rocks their silence break to sing sweet freedom's song. And at the very end, let this land be bright. Long may this land be bright, with freedom's holy light. Can I get an amen to that? So I have a question to ask. Where is freedom's holy light? Is it out there? In this world, we don't see too much of freedom's holy light, because the things of the world tend to overshadow that. But freedom's holy light is within every one of us. And if this land is to be bright, then we have to let that light shine out from us. Have you ever thought that you have freedom's holy light within you? You do. I believe that each one of us came here with an inner calling and a knowing, whether we are conscious of it or not. That we came to add our unique energy to the soul evolution, or maybe I should say it this way, to the evolution of the soul of humankind. We came here with a kind of love requirement, that we are to add love. That's our energy. That is what we are to add to the evolving of this soul. And love, to me, is all about service. Service to some is, well, I do that in my spare time. And yes, we probably do service in our spare time. But service is also a way of life. Service, someone has said, is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this beautiful earth. Service then becomes the purpose of life. Service is giving, not getting. And the amazing thing about it is we find that the more that we give of ourselves and our resources, the more comes back to us. Well, we shouldn't be amazed because that's the law. We could call it the law of giving and receiving. We could call it the law of circulation. But whatever love, especially, that we have to give, we need to begin to give it. As I thought about this week, so many things came to me. So many things of how we could add love to this world. And I'm not going to tell you the ways because you know the ways that you can give love. Each of us is a unique individual. But there is something here that I think we all need to ask ourselves. What if you were told that you had only a short time to live? What would you do? Would you focus on love? And how much love you could give to your friends and your family? Would you finally get your priorities in order? I thought about that this week. There are some things I do that seem to be totally out of order. Maybe I could finally straighten that out. Do all the things that I maybe should have done a long time ago. Maybe I could actually do that. No, we tend to put life on hold. Well, I'm too busy. I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow when I have more time. Tomorrow when I have more courage. Well, I have all the courage I need today, and so do you. And the time is now. It's now. I think we have to remember that we live in two realities at the same time. That we live in the great reality that is spiritual. We're living there now. We are spiritual beings. And we live in another reality, and that's physical. And this reality has a definite and obvious beginning and an obvious ending. When some people say we cease to be, no, we don't cease to be. The body may cease to be, but as spiritual beings, we go on. I know one woman who said to me this week, I'm not going to the cemetery because it reminds me that someday I'm going to die. So my response to her was, in a very kind way, of course, well, get over it. Because, yes, we are all going to pass from this earth. But you're not going to die. Because there's only life. That's all there is. And you just go from one phase of living to another. How beautiful is that? This thing that we call death, some say it is like the opening and closing of a door. That's all. Or it is like taking off some clothes and putting on a new set of other clothes. We go on. We need to celebrate that. We do. So on this beautiful day, and I call it beautiful, it doesn't matter to me if the sun shines or not. You know, we get so hung up on that. We think we can only be happy when the sun is shining. No, the sun is always shining in here. So we can always be happy. Why not? Why not? So in this inner calling that we have, I say that just as those who gave their lives in service, we are called to give our lives in service also to each other and to the world. I wonder also if we could tell ourselves that I am going to die, how then am I going to live today? Ask yourself that sometime this week. Just sit with that for a while. I am going to die. So then how am I going to live now? Am I going to live in love? Am I going to live in service? I want to tell you about somebody, a very young man, who, when he found out that he was going to die, he had been diagnosed 3 years ago with bone cancer. And I know that many of us have heard about this young man, Zach Sobiek. We've heard of him. And his song has been everywhere. You know, that song that he wrote, Clouds, the day after it came out, it was in the top 10 on the music charts. And I think because he's trying to say something to us about life and how we can love in this life. Here was a young man. He passed when he was 18. That was this last Monday. His service was on Thursday. He left us a legacy of joy and love. He wanted to give people hope. He wanted to let everyone know that you don't have to start living when you are going to die. I think he said it this way: when you find out that you're dying, you don't have to wait to start living then. You need to be living now. He tried to make everybody happy. He wanted to have a smile on everybody's face. And so he wrote this song called Clouds, and that was his farewell song to his family and his friends. And are we going to be able to see that? And there are lyrics to this, and the lyrics being up there, sing if you want. It's the simplest melody. So let's just see how it goes.
'cause the view's a little nicer up here. My dear, it won't be long now. It won't be long now.
So that was his song. I wonder what my song would be. My farewell song, and what would yours be? How then do we live now? How do we live? And so he wanted to live life in joy and love. I want to live that way too. I want to add peace to that. I want to add service to that. And where do we find joy and love and peace? Within us. We're not going to find it out there. It's in here. We need to get acquainted with the inner side of life. We need to get acquainted with our own deep self. The silence that we enter into when we go into that space of light. In here, it teaches us, it guides us. It lets us know that we don't have to react. It teaches us how to act. Because again, we are spiritual beings. And we can come from that spiritual beingness instead of our physical reality. There's a higher way to live, and we get it from here. You know what this is? This is the sweet land of liberty, right in here. This is freedom. Just because we do that and we live from this, because you see, we always have our choice. Which reality am I going to live from? Am I going to live from this physical reality? I'm always going to be disappointed. But if I live from here, I can always be in joy. I can always be in love. It doesn't mean we have to renounce the world. In fact, I would say that when we come from this place within, we can enjoy the world even more than we have before because we are not bound by it. We are in this world, but we are not of the world. What a difference. We are living from a higher power. So how then do we live? We live from peace, joy, love, and in service. Namaste.